On a sleepy suburban street full of pastel houses and freshly cut lawns, the world felt predictable. At least it did for the Crawfords. Each morning, Evelyn Crawford walked her terrier beneath a canopy of blossoming oaks, coffee in hand, greeting neighbors who prided themselves on polite smiles and sparkling driveways. The Crawfords' home, painted crisp blue with a wide porch swing, felt like a fortress of routine and comfort. They loved their weekend rituals, barbecues humming with laughter, evenings spent in the glow of twinkling porch lights, neighborhood kids riding bikes past tidy hedges. HOA notices arrived in the mailbox like clockwork, but for the Crawfords, they were little more than gentle reminders, nothing out of the ordinary. That spring, a renovation inspired by childhood dreams began to take shape. The Crawfords purchased a vintage RV, their ticket to family adventures and forgotten highways. The silver motorhome gleamed in the driveway, quiet testament to years spent saving for spontaneous journeys. Yet beneath the cheerful decals and chrome, something almost imperceptible began to shift in the neighborhood air. The blue house with its storybook swing now caught lingering glances from passing neighbors. Little did the Crawfords know their pursuit of freedom was about to place them at the center of a storm. The next chapter wasn't just about open roads, but about invisible lines and consequences etched by others. What unspoken rule did they cross, and who was watching a little too closely? The Crawfords' world started to unravel quietly, almost imperceptibly, with the first official letter from the HOA. It was tucked among the usual flyers and bills, a notice about the RV parked in their driveway. The HOA rules were clear. No RVs could be parked outside of garages or designated storage spots longer than 48 hours. But the Crawfords had only begun their adventure, planning weekend getaways and family road trips. They never imagined a simple letter would ignite a chain reaction of harassment and petty power plays. Almost overnight, the letters turned into warnings, then demands, escalating into fines that seemed arbitrarily calculated. Their driveway, once a symbol of freedom, became a battleground. The HOA chairman, a stern-faced man who wielded his authority like a weapon, began scrutinizing every inch of the Crawfords' property. Garden flags were deemed unsightly, the color of their porch swing questioned, and neighbors whispered about setting a precedent. It wasn't just rules anymore. It was a vendetta in motion. Late-night knockings stirred Evelyn awake, with terse notes taped to their door, complaints about noise levels when the kids played in the yard, or about their holiday decorations being too flashy. The Crawfords felt the weight of invisible eyes watching their every move, waiting for the next infraction to pounce on. Each reply they sent to the HOA board was met with cold-form letters, never addressing the family's heartfelt pleas or requests for leniency. Their community, once a place of comfort and connection, now felt claustrophobic and hostile. Attempts to mediate or attend board meetings only led to more frustration. The board meetings were dominated by HOA loyalists, dismissing the Crawfords' concerns as mere defiance. One afternoon, the HOA sent a team to inspect the RV, citing new clauses about commercial vehicle appearances and security risks. This was no longer about keeping the neighborhood tidy, but about control, about proving who wore the crown in this small kingdom. The Crawfords were trapped in a legal maze, fighting fines that piled up and neighbors who sided with the association out of fear or conformity. As the tension ratcheted higher, the Crawfords began uncovering unsettling details. The HOA board's funds had mysterious shortfalls, and decisions were often made without proper homeowner input. Petty disputes masked deeper issues: power struggles, financial mismanagement, and an obsession with applying rules unevenly. The Crawfords realized they weren't just fighting the RV rule, they were up against a system designed to maintain control at any cost. Their once peaceful street now echoed with whispered alliances, secret meetings, and threats thinly veiled as community standards. The Crawfords vowed to hold their ground, all while knowing the storm was far from over. How far would the HOA go? And what secrets lay behind the pristine facades of their seemingly perfect neighborhood? The next letter was different. Urgent, threatening legal action if the RV wasn't removed immediately. The Crawfords' battle was about to escalate even further. Would justice prevail, or would the HOA's iron grip crush their dreams of freedom? The answers were yet to come. But the fight was only beginning. The Crawfords stood at the epicenter of a neighborhood storm that had been quietly gathering for months, but nothing could have prepared them for the explosive confrontation that was about to unfold. It began with a summons. A sharply worded letter from the HOA board demanding immediate removal of their beloved RV, branding it a blight and potential security risk to the entire community. But this was just the opening salvo in a battle that would test every ounce of their resolve. Instead of compliance, the Crawfords responded with a firm refusal. The RV wasn't just a vehicle, it was their ticket to freedom, a symbol of family memories yet to be made. Their lawyer had already flagged how selectively and unfairly the HOA applied its own rules, a desire for control masquerading as community protection. But the HOA chairman, a man who seemed to relish wielding disproportionate power, wasn't listening. In the days that followed, tension exploded. HOA patrols began making rounds, scrutinizing every inch of the Crawfords' property with an intrusive gaze that felt more like harassment than governance. Notices piled up like a relentless storm, each accompanied by fines that doubled and tripled in cruel succession. The HOA's tone was no longer neutral. It had turned punitive, swarming with veiled threats of litigation and forced towing of the RV. Neighbors who had once greeted Evelyn with warm smiles now crossed the street or cast cold looks, wary of associating too closely with the family under siege. The Crawfords felt isolated, strangers in their own home. Meanwhile, the HOA meetings, once a mundane chore, became battlegrounds of barbed accusations and closed doors. Every public hearing was a calculated spectacle, with the board dismissing their every defense, framing the Crawfords as reckless outlaws. But the fight was far from over. Armed with evidence of the HOA's inconsistent rule enforcement and murky financial dealings, the Crawfords staged a powerful counterattack. They brought the truth to light at a packed community meeting. Charts revealing missing HOA funds, testimonies from neighbors who feared retaliation but whispered worries about the board's authoritarian grip, and a key document exposing an illegal clause buried deep within the community's bylaws. The room fell silent as Evelyn's voice pierced through the tension, demanding justice and respect for every homeowner's rights. The HOA chairman's facade cracked, his smug confidence replaced by a flicker of panic. In that moment, the Crawfords weren't just fighting for their RV. They were challenging a system that had twisted rules into chains. Yet the climax wasn't a neat victory. As heated voices echoed and tempers flared, a legal representative entered with an unexpected bombshell, a notice of impending lawsuit filed by the HOA against the Crawfords for harassment and defamation. The crowd gasped. The balance of power shifted again, and the battle waged not just in community halls but in courtrooms. The Crawfords found themselves standing at a crossroads after the storm of accusations and lawsuits settled into the background. The fight had taken everything, their time, energy, and peace of mind, but it had also awakened a quiet revolution in their once muted community. The resolution was neither instant nor easy, but it was undeniably transformative. The lawsuit brought by the HOA initially felt like the final hammer striking down on their hopes, but instead, it acted as a catalyst. With legal experts on their side, the Crawfords began unraveling the HOA's overreach and exposed the sinister imbalance of power that had been festering under pristine exteriors. Court hearings unfolded with intense scrutiny on the HOA's operating procedures, revealing mismanagement and the targeting of residents who dared to question authority. The community, initially divided and fearful, saw the transformation in real time. More neighbors stepped forward, sharing stories of arbitrary fines and unseen pressures. What had once been whispered in shadowed doorways became a chorus for change. The HOA, forced into accountability, agreed to a historic settlement, a revision of community bylaws, the elimination of discriminatory rules, and the installation of an independent oversight committee to ensure fairness. For the Crawfords, the battle forged lasting ripples. Their RV stayed parked proudly in the driveway, not as a symbol of defiance, but as a testament to resilience. Bonds were reforged with neighbors who now viewed them not as provocateurs, but as champions for community rights. Evelyn's morning walks returned to tranquil rituals, but with a new sense of strength and purpose infused in each step. Beyond personal victory, the Crawford story sent shockwaves beyond their cul-de-sac. It became a rallying cry for homeowners nationwide battling similar injustices. Their fight underscored the importance of transparency, fairness, and the courage to stand against oppressive norms. It revealed how grassroots courage can dismantle intimidation tactics and reclaim neighborhoods as places of respect and dignity. Yet, the story ends not with a perfect utopia, but an open question hanging in the air. How often do silent communities give in to unseen forces, and what price do residents pay when they don't speak up? The Crawfords' journey invites every homeowner to weigh their own line between compliance and courage, and to remember that freedom often demands standing firm against those who seek to control it. As night falls over the quiet streets, the Crawfords know one thing for certain: their fight changed more than just their driveway. It changed the heart of a community. The question remains: will the next storm bring silence or another voice rising in defiance?